CQRS is a way to organize your code to maybe make it more scalable. Now, there's probably been a lot of hype about this, and you've probably heard about it before, but maybe you've never used it. If you want to learn if it's hype or if it's fear, uncertainty, and doubt, then please stick around and watch this video, because I'm going to show you my technique for how I learn how to use a new package or how to learn about a new system. So we're going to go into LinkPad here, and I'm just going to start running the code, and we're going to jump right into the demo first before we start deconstructing it. I have an ASP.NET Core minimal API. We can see it's got started up here in the output window, and now my API is responding. So I have the tweets API. We're going to be able to get tweets and insert tweets, right? And so that's what our API is going to support, and we're going to do that with the popular MediatR library, so we can have a little bit of a very lightweight, a very basic CQRS system. So we're accessing it through the browser, and then I'm also going to run a PowerShell command to do an API call. You can see we got some more output here, and it didn't return anything, so it's empty, so PowerShell is not showing us anything. So I'm going to run a new command here. We're going to now insert. We're going to send a post. We're going to insert a tweet. And so now we got back some response. We saw more activity here. There is output in the window from the LinkPad dump method, which makes it really handy to inspect the things that we're working on or working with. And now if I refresh the browser, now I have more data coming back. If I send another insert or another post, MediatR's running through the code, and I return again, we'll hit pretty print, and now we can see that we have JSON flowing through our API. In LinkPad, we have MediatR added through what is basically one line of code, line 4 here, where we say add MediatR. So if I go to LinkPad, in LinkPad we can add a reference to any NuGet package, which is pretty cool and really helpful. So we've referenced the MediatR package in here, and that's where this comes from. So we've built a web application and we've added MediatR. This is another real handy thing about dependency injection that I actually learned while making this video. We're using add singleton, and we can just pass in a type. So our data store, we're going to use this as like a very lightweight data store. We're going to allow the .NET dependency injection to manage one instance, a singleton, of a list of tweets. And so we can actually use that as a data store. That's something I learned, and actually a really kind of nifty and handy feature about that. Maybe you can use that later on in one of your other projects or for one of your other ideas. So in our API, now we're going to define a couple minimal APIs. We have a get call for tweets. That's going to allow us to use MediatR to get our tweets data. And then we have another call, a post, which is going to allow us to use MediatR to create a new tweet. All right, so this is a very, very basic, very lightweight API and system that we're going to design to get tweets in and out of the system. So if we want to come down here and talk about some MediatR ideas, so MediatR has two primary interfaces that we're going to work with here, IRequest and IRequestHandler. Think about this. Think about it this way. IRequest is you telling MediatR, here's an operation that you're going to perform. It's like adding something to a restaurant menu. Here's something we offer. That's how we use IRequest. And in the type parameter, we tell it what data it's going to return. Right? So, hey, this is telling MediatR, hey, we are going to have an operation called tweets get all query, and it's going to return a list of tweets. IRequestHandler is what we pair with IRequest. And this is telling MediatR how to go actually perform that operation. This is like handing something off to our kitchen to say, hey, our menu offers a cheeseburger. Now kitchen, go make the cheeseburger. Right? And so this is our code that is run whenever someone sends a message to our MediatR saying, hey, when you do tweets get all query, I want you to run this handler. And this right here is kind of, it's a bit abstracted from the docs, but this is really like the core concept right here, IRequest and IRequestHandler. This is the entry point to MediatR to create all of your other queries and commands that the system's going to support. So here's our query. And now, so they have this dichotomy in MediatR, queries and commands. It's an artificial constraint, and MediatR is going to help you enforce it, but it can't do that for you. So in theory, or in practice, when you're designing your system, queries should only get data from your system. That's all you should allow in a query. But you could certainly modify things if that's what the coder wanted to do. But the reason we're using this package and going down with this pattern is to allow you to not do that, give you tools to not do that. It should make it easier on people using your API later on. Now, if we come down here, we're going to see the same pattern. We have IRequest and IRequestHandler. This time we have something called tweet create, right? So now this is going to allow us to create tweets in the system. But you can see they both came down to a handle method here. It's just in one, we return the tweets. And here we go requesting tweets from the dependency injection, right? This is from our add singleton earlier. Now we're back down here in the create command handler. This is where we're doing the insert. We create a new tweet. We add it to our tweets instance, and then actually here's another feature we'll talk about here in a moment. We're going to send a notification. This is just kind of like an event. We can broadcast an event. Some people like to call that pub sub, publish and subscribe to messages. And so this is another kind of feature of MediatR here. But yeah, this is like what our handler does. It just adds a new tweet and returns it, and adds a new tweet to our instance and returns it back to the caller. And that's actually what we see right here. Because we returned the tweet, we got this output here from our API. So now we can look at the iNotification. Let's see here, iNotification and iNotification handler. Two interfaces, the same concept. We say, hey, here's a notification you can send to the system. Right? Someone can say, hey, a tweet posted notification. This is an action someone took in the system. And now if someone wants to handle that or do something whenever this is sent to the system, we set up a handler for it. And so this is actually the handler here is how we're getting this new tweet method in our output. Again, we're calling dump on this, which is this nice method from exclusively from LinkPad, which makes it easy to inspect our data and print something to the screen. So yeah, these are the core concepts here. Really, we have IRequest and IRequestHandler. We are going to use these two interfaces to define any query or command in our system. And then we have iNotification and iNotificationHandler to do a pub sub mechanism, right? We want to broadcast messages. And one of the primary benefits of that is the handler didn't have to know who needed the message, right? We could add, as our system is extended or modified later on, we could add new functionality so that, hey, whenever a tweet posted notification, we could just, whenever a tweet posted notification is sent, we can just add a new handler to do something with that. So that's MediatR in a nutshell. We're under 100 lines of code here. This illustrates the core concepts, ties together a bunch of things, and now you can use this to go build your bigger, more complex systems. But we've started simple, and LinkPad has made it really easy to do that. So watch. If I want to test some new code, I just stopped the query, very easy. I'm going to change this. So let's look at this here real quick. So let's create a new object, and we'll call dump on that and say new tweet. So rather than a string, we'll show you how dump can send out an object. So we're just going to say notification.username, notification.content. So that's, we'll comment this one here. Now I'm going to press F5 to run. Our application has started up already. Now we'll come back over here. We'll send a request. Yep. So new tweet. So within probably 15 seconds or so, we were able to modify this, get the application running again, and now we see our updated output. And so the iteration cycles are so fast when you're using LinkPad to do your prototyping, your designs, your development. The prototyping is so fast, you can get so many more reps in here versus using the more complicated and more powerful Visual Studio or even like VS Code, where maybe that would have taken 30 to 60 seconds or 60 to 90 seconds to stop the application, make that change, get it running again, go figure out where is that output, what happened here. And more chances to try code, try new things when using LinkPad. So please, hope you learned something in this video. You can really help me out if you enjoyed this content here. If it's helpful, you can like and subscribe. I post content about .NET and coding with C#. And if you like the video, hey, that helps me play to the algorithm, get this out to more people to help me grow the channel. Thanks everyone. Good luck. Have fun coding.